Hi, and welcome to the Drunk Linux User. I'm Len. I am the Drunk Linux User. And funny thing happened on the way to the internet after I moved in. And I decided that I needed more than 200 megabits per second between my wife and my son. The games, the WeChat, the stuff that I use the internet for just didn't have enough oomph. And we were starting to get some lagging and a little bit of buffering going on. So I went from 200 to 400 megabits and I was all excited about it. I did a speed test, 200 megabits per second. What the, right? So I'm trying all these different things. I'm trying to use Windows. I'm trying to use a different version of Linux. I'm trying to do everything possible to see why is it I can't get the 400 megabits per second I'm supposedly paying for. So kind of hit me. You might want to check your Ethernet cable, dude. So what I did was I swapped it out for the one that came with the modem and the router. And it's considerably shorter, but it's still workable for where I have it set up. Plugged everything in, did my speed test, boom, 430 megabits per second on the down and 20 megabits per second on the up. That's the best I can do. I'm happy. That's a very interesting thing too. So I guess what I'm saying is, if you ever run into a situation where your internet isn't running as fast as you think it is, it could actually be the cable. This was the cable that I had been using was the same exact cable that I used in our old place, and I was getting 420, 430 megabits per second from it. I don't know. Maybe something happened in the move. Maybe it got crimped. Maybe it just decided, I don't like where you're living now and screw you, go with the new guy, I don't care. I don't really know what happened. But do a couple things first. Check the Ethernet cable, make sure that's not the problem. Also, you might want to check if you have a VPN to see if your VPN server, especially if you move, you might want to check to see if maybe you need to change your VPN servers because of distance or just maybe how the nodes work between you and them. So just something to consider. There are some interesting websites here. One is this one right here, Ethernet slower than Wi-Fi. This website talks a little bit about how to test. Go through the different things like switching to a different port, which by the way I had done. And then we get to the one that worked for me right off the bat was try a different cable. So I would strongly suggest that you at least take a look at that if you're having some problems. If you don't think that you're getting the speed that you need, and it's on Ethernet, you might want to try it this way. Also, there's this website right here, highspeedinternet.com. Our Ethernet cable is slowing your connection, and this goes into a little bit more detail about Ethernet cables. When I was dealing with running cable for telecom once in a long time ago, we were using Cat 5 because Cat 5 at the Category 5 cables were like the thing back then. With the higher speed modems and services being offered, you might want to upgrade to a Cat 6. That's what I'm using right now is a Cat 6. I had a Cat 6 before, but like I said, I think the cable got crimped or something, damaged somehow in the move. I don't know how because it was like loosely rolled and I don't know, cosmic rays. Who knows? So this website's very interesting as well. All these websites are in the show notes as always. Here's something kind of fun if you just want to play around with it, or maybe it's something serious. You're working for a company, or you're working for a new service, and you want to make sure that your information is private and secure, sending it through email over the internet, or we'll just go with email over the internet just to make it simple right now. This website right here, It's Foss, has a great beginner's tutorial on how to get your Linux system set up and how to actually encrypt a file, make it so that other people can't read the file, but you can still send it to somebody and they can read the file. If you're not used to this type of technology, it can seem a little bit confusing at first, but I tried it. If I can do it, I think you can do it. And if not, there are a lot of resources out there that will help you be able to get everything set up. And this is using a command line interface on the terminal. There may be other graphical user interfaces like little program windows that you can use that might make it a little bit easier for you. Determine what's best for you. I use the command line through the terminal because I don't find it to be that difficult. But just do what works for you, you know. And if this can help save you from a little corporate espionage, or maybe you're going to get the lowdown on a politician or whatever, this could be exactly what you're needing. Because last I heard, carrier pigeons still have not been cloned and put back into the general population. I use Linux Mint. Told you that the last video that I made. Now, they've come out with a new beta. Beta is their next version, but it's still in testing phase, and they're offering it to the public if you want to try and experiment with this. Go right ahead. Just don't make this your primary operating system. So a lot of people, they'll take this beta, for example, this Linux Mint beta, and they will put it on a thumb drive, and they'll run it directly from the thumb drive and just test it out. You can also download the ISO file and install it on a virtual box or any other type of virtual machine that you want to use. It's a good way of being able to test the software, and if you find any bugs, you can let the developers know what you found and how you were able to repeat it, and this helps them get the software ready so that when they release it out into the wild, other people aren't experiencing the same problems. If you're a geek like me, yeah, you're going to play with it. But I'm not going to use this as my daily driver, as they say. I'm just going to use it as a test. But I think it's pretty cool. They've got some interesting new things that they're adding to this. One of them is called, I'm not sure if this is really going to be the word for it, but you see this thingy? It's kind of a library. It's basically, it shows you graphically your most recent documents that you've been working on, and that's kind of nice. Instead of having to open up like all kinds of different programs and just looking at a list and thinking, okay, what did I name that? Where was it? You can pretty much just tell from here. So good for Linux Mint. Good for Linux Mint. I'm looking forward to seeing what this is going to be like. There's what's old is new again, and you can see that on the upper corners they're following the GNOME and everybody else's ideologies that you have to have rounded corners. See, the bottoms aren't rounded, but it doesn't. Honestly, it really doesn't matter as long as you can work in that box. What difference does it make, right? But for aesthetics, they're doing this, and like I said, good for them. I think it's great that they're continuing to try to make this operating system the best it can possibly be. If you want to learn more about Linux Mint and what you can do to tweak it, this website, Linux Hint, has a category of Linux Mint where you can go and learn all different things about how to tweak it to make it work for you. You have maybe some kind of special work environment or way of doing things. You have a workflow that works better this way than that way. You don't need this, but you do need that. There's an awful lot of information here, and this isn't just for Linux Mint. This can give you a lot of information for just about every other Debian-based distribution out there. So if you're interested in learning more about tweaking your Linux Mint or Debian system, take a look. There's also this right here about how to make Linux more desirable for the mainstream population out there, and this article is written by Nate Graham, and he's with the KDE development team, and he has some very interesting ideas about what it would take And basically what he's saying is that Linux needs to be pre-installed on the retail hardware so that the mainstream population will just accept it and take it in. I know that this has happened before with things like Chromebooks or just certain laptops that you could get. For example, at Walmart, even you used to be able to get laptops with Ubuntu pre-installed. I don't know what's happened with that. I don't know if they just didn't sell because maybe it was the wrong version of Ubuntu to put on there. Maybe it just didn't light people up like it should have. So he's got some ideas about what to do to make Linux, pretty much like the Lamborghinis of operating systems, and not just for the end user, but for the hardware developer as well. So to make it so easy that when they install, all they have to pretty much do is just put their labeling on it, their brand. So it's some good thoughts. There are some people who have already put their comments out there, and for the most part, I think most people agree. So anyway, that's pretty much where we're at with that stuff today. I've got all of these websites that I just deleted ready for you in the show notes. Remember our words of wisdom. Don't drive drunk. Don't drink and drive. Don't go to eBay or Amazon all buzzed up and buy crap you don't need or want. You might think it's cool at the time, but it probably isn't. And in the meantime, bottoms up, dudes. Real bourbon this time. It's mixed. Not drunk yet.